This is Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child and Homeschool Superheroes. You can see us in the back. I talked a little bit about that earlier today, so if you want to find out more, and I'm going to talk a little bit today, right now, but I'm glad you're here. If you pop in, just leave your name. Tell us maybe what state you live in, or tell us how many kids you are going to be homeschooling this year. So, what I want to do today is talk to you a little bit about consistency in your homeschool and consistency in relationship to character building. One of the things that moms keep telling me is their biggest challenge is being consistent and being overwhelmed. And so let's talk about one of those today. And I'm going to talk about it specifically as far as bringing our kids up to have a very strong, firm foundation of character. Now, I will say before I jump in there, I've got a few reminders because there are so many great ideas popping in today. I am so excited about some of the posts. Y'all are giving some great ideas. So if you're overwhelmed or you're dreading, I had one lady say, I'm dreading organization because I'm not organized. Let me just tell you, if you'll maybe do a search for Carrie Beck on here, you'll find my post for today. And there were 70 comments on back to school fun, so you can get some ideas there. I don't know how many comments there were, but we've got a post this afternoon on scheduling, time management, organization. I shared my own blog post and how I did my daily schedule, my weekly schedule, and my annual schedule. But people are popping in and telling great ideas. So if you struggle with scheduling, time management, or organization, I would look there. And I'm going to get to the consistency in a minute. Oh, then the other thing is just getting back to school and being ready and challenged. Some of you are like, I am nervous, but there are some of you throwing some good advice on that post as well. So if you're a little concerned about going back to school or nervous or whatever, look at some of those posts and see what there is out there. Now, the other thing I have posted today are some freebies. I have a freebie which is called a basic pass to homeschool superheroes, so you can homeschool with confidence. I have a link. I will put some of the links here as comments afterwards. That was on my old video from earlier this morning. And then I have a giveaway for 5 all access passes. That was earlier today, and you can enter that and maybe win an all-access pass to Homeschool Superheroes. So, but what I want to talk to you today right now about is character and consistency. Because too often, I think what happens is when we're in the midst of maybe homeschooling and the kids are going, me, 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 or we got the little toddler throwing a temper tantrum while we're trying to homeschool the 4th grader. So we've got issues that we need to deal with. And a lot of times when it happens immediately, I mean, I don't know about you, but I won't necessarily freak out, but I try to come up with a solution real quickly. And so I really think that one thing that can help you is to think about some of these situations ahead of time and go ahead and determine what the consequence is or what the reward is. Maybe you have a child that is not staying on task and not doing what they're supposed to. So maybe you put a timer and say, if you stay focused for 15 minutes, you can go outside and play for 5 minutes or something like that. Because I think too, when we talk about character building and consistency, we tend to think about discipline and all the negative qualities. And sometimes we need to think a little more about the positive qualities as well. Now, if you followed me, you listened to me at all, you know that I'm a person of faith. My faith in Jesus is really important. I know some people aren't. I've even seen some comments, and that's okay. I still think that if you are following a secular homeschool, there are some ideas I'm going to share in a minute that can still help you, just like the idea of thinking ahead of time. But for me, it is my faith and it is God's word that always directs me. And if I'm going to make a decision about how I'm going to raise my kids, I'm going to use the word of God. So what I have are some character building charts, and there's 3 different ones. I've already printed them out and laminated them, but these are digital. And so you can print them out. You can print them out and laminate them and reuse them, or you can just print them out and write on them and then print another one out if you want to. But let me explain how this works. So how this works is we've got this chart, and this when you act right or wrong. We have truthful here and we have cheating here, and those are opposites. So what we want to do is write ahead of time the response. How are we going to reward a truthful person, and how are we going to reward a person that reward. How are we going to give them consequence? We're not going to reward the cheaters where we don't want to. Now, as I said, I'm a person of faith, so each one of these actually has a Bible verse that goes with it. And so you can use the verse to maybe determine what your reward or consequence is. And then when something happens, when someone is telling the truth in a bad situation, we can go here and we can see what kind of reward to give them. If someone is cheating, or I have another one also on this one, we have truth and lying, because those are opposites also. But if someone is cheating, then you don't have to think ahead of time what the consequence is. You just go to the chart and you read the verse and talk about it with your child. And then you say, well, you did this, and this is God saying that cheating is wrong, and we follow God, so this is the consequence. Well, God honors, it says, stop telling lies, let us tell our neighbors the truth, for we are all parts of the same body. God wants us to tell the truth. This is the reward in our family for telling the truth. We have generous and stealing, forgiving and revenge, and peacemaker and fighting. There's all sorts of ones on here. But what I like about this too is then you can just put this on your refrigerator, and then it's sitting there so everyone knows what's going to happen, even when you have friends over. I'm not saying you need to necessarily reward or give a consequence to a friend, but you can take care of your own children as well. You probably have to decide how that handles. Now, on the back, well, actually digital, one of the pages that comes in here is how to use these charts, and then I've got suggested rewards and suggested consequences as well. You may have something different. I would recommend going through this, thinking about it, going over it with your spouse, and then y'all come up together and come up with some rewards and consequences. So this one is acting right, this one is speaking right, and this is doing right. And so we've got those. Now, what happened was about a year ago, my daughter had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and she said, Mom, this is just too much. I mean, way too much. So it took me a year, and I finally created our mini charts, and they come to a page like this. And really all I did was take this little section of each one and enlarge it so you could focus just on one positive and negative at a time. So this one is respectful and disrespectful. And so what you could do is just print this out. If whatever the issue is, I would choose something that you're really working on. But maybe your kids are not being respectful. And so you print this out, you go ahead and write the positive part and the negative part, the consequence, and then you put it on the refrigerator, and there's no question about what goes on. I said I was talking about consistency, and I truly believe when you have decided ahead of time, you can be consistent with every child. You can be consistent with every action. You can reward consistently, and you can give consequences consistently. But these are the same charts as what's written here. And so these come separately as well. These are $15, and this actually is $15, but it comes, I usually sell it as a toolkit. So I have been sort of blabbing. If you have questions or concerns, I'm going to share a few more things, but feel free to go ahead and put a comment here. If there's something that you have a question about character building, please go ahead and put a comment here. I'd be happy to visit with you about that. If you have a specific, I like to stay on the positive. I have done some of these where leave a comment. What is the one character quality you're really struggling to get your kid to do? Or what's the one that drives you crazy? If you want to leave a comment about what you're struggling with, what your challenge is, that would be a great way to leave a comment here, because I am giving a gift card tomorrow for one person that actually leaves a comment on all my posts today and tomorrow. Now, I do have a special. It's the only weekend special that I have this weekend. And because I am Homeschool Superhero starts on Monday, we have kickoff tomorrow night. I have to finish preparing my talk for tomorrow night so we can get it up there. And we've got all sorts of things going on in that community group over there. I looked at that this morning. I welcomed 116 new members. And by noonish, I actually... I think we welcomed another 45 members. It's just constantly. So it's a fun place to be, and it's just open through next week. So it's a great place to talk to veteran homeschoolers. But okay, so Jackie, thank you for being here. Personal responsibility, and I would even say a little bit of work ethic. One thing that I do personally, if you would like to know something that I did, is well, one, I bribe my kids. I'll be really honest. I would reward them, but I would sit and talk to them. And if you're a Christian, I would talk to them not so much as this is what mom and dad are telling you to do, but let's raise it up a notch and talk about what God wants us to do and have a verse or two that you can talk about. I don't know how old, but that's one thing. We would also give our kids small jobs so they had to fulfill that job. And then eventually they were responsible for that job as well. So it wasn't just me saying, okay, here's your one thing. You're responsible for doing the laundry. We had them doing it for like 3 months, and then they were responsible for the bathrooms or whatever. I believe that when you teach work ethic, especially around the house, you need to give your kids more time than just a week to practice something. And some wonderful veteran mom told me that when my kids were little. And so pretty much when they had a specific chore, it was at least 2 or 3 months. And so that they really got in the habit and understood. I hired a college student one time to clean my bathroom, and afterwards I had to go clean it again. And I said to myself, my kids are not leaving my home until they know how to clean a bathroom well, because I'm thinking a 20-year-old ought to know how to clean the bathroom. And I am not as picky. I have some friends that are, I'm just like, there should not be any dirt all around the toilet and on the toilet. I mean, anyway. Okay, so a 9-year-old, I'm guessing, I would just give them, I need to work on kindness with my boys. Okay, let me talk about work, personal responsibility first. One thing I would consider is letting them make a choice about what they are going to be responsible for, because then they are buying into it. They are getting ownership. I teach a course called Raising Leader. Well, it's Christian leadership, but part of it is raising leaders, not followers. And one thing I think we do is we teach our kids to follow all the way till they graduate from high school, really all the way till they graduate from college. They're always told what to do. And when we were raising our kids, when they started their high school years, they started owning their schooling. They started planning their schooling. They started making decisions about their schooling. And that did build some personal responsibility. So I would talk to him and just start small and even make it something that maybe he likes. If he's really into, maybe you have a dog, let him be responsible for that. And then you do need to have some consequences. But I just think you need to, one thing you're really working on is you want to tend their heart. You want to go to their heart and not just be a dictator. And if they make the choice to be responsible for something around your house and something small, then you can hold them to that. When they are responsible, I think it's important that we do reward them. And I was sort of teasing about the bribe, but I mean, God rewards us when we do things well for him. Well done, good and faithful servant. So I think we ought to be able to reward our children as well. So that's one thing I would encourage you. I did a character workshop, actually all of this. It was a lot longer. And one thing I wanted to say, and I can't remember exactly the numbers, but for like a child hears like 300 negative comments a day and 17 positive ones. And I know I have the numbers wrong, but something like that. I bet my notes are sitting here. I don't know. But we need to really pay attention to when we see good things, we need to reinforce that. And then that leads me to, I don't know if it's Carissa or Charissa. I would say Carissa. I may be wrong. You can correct me. I need to work on kindness. I will say one thing. Now, this isn't necessarily kindness, but one thing that our kids really picked up on us is thank you and please. Thank you and please. My kids say thank you all the time. They started doing that when they were like 8 or 9 years old. Why? Because I was an example, and I just told them thank you all day long. Whenever they did something, I would say thank you to them. So I would be, as you're saying, need to work on kindness. I think one thing is we are kind to them, and we also need to go towards their heart. And maybe they don't even see what they're doing. And so you might actually talk to them. Now, I'm guessing if it's boys, maybe they're like fighting and all that stuff. But sit down and talk to them. And it may not be as a whole group, but maybe individually. if it's, I don't know where you live, but if it's possible to take them out for ice cream and talk to them. Again, if you're a Christian, you can, this sounds bad, throw it on God, because it's really God. We're following his standards, not my standards, not your standards. It's because of God, and he tells us to put on kindness. So I'm going to finish this. Yes, we have to model. Thank you, Erin. So true. I'm going to come back to that, but before we get too far in this, I do want to make sure that everyone knows we have this thing called a character training toolkit, and this is what is actually my weekend special. So it has a video class, achieving peace through consistency. So that's why I keep talking about consistency. It has our 3 charts. It has teaching good manners, an ebook on that, because I believe good manners are a sign of good character as well. This is, I think, $35 value, and it is on sale till tomorrow night for $15. So that is pretty cool. That is the price of these charts if you were to just buy them individually. And so, and if you want, you can buy them individually, but if not, you can also get the video, and you can get the ebook on teaching manners as well. And I will put a link. I forgot. I actually tend to put the description afterwards instead of beforehand. But anyway, I'll put a link as soon as I'm finished to that. It's over at How to Homeschool My Child, but you're not going to find it anywhere because it's a secret link, because it's just for our top picks people. Yes. Okay. So let's just go back. I'm going to review a few things. I think character building starts with you, and it is so important that we model. And I will have to confess, I didn't always model well. And I will just tell you a quick story before I close. There was a time Ashley was about 5 years old, and Steve had told me, Carrie, quit rolling your eyes at me. And I was like, I'm not rolling my eyes at you. And I mean, I became very defensive about all of it. And fast forward 2 weeks, and Ashley's sitting at the kitchen table, and I asked her to do something, and she rolled her eyes at me. Now, where do you think she learned eye rolling? Ha ha, from me. So I had to apologize to Ashley, and I had to apologize to Steve, and then I had to really work on myself and say, Carrie, you better change, or you're going to raise a child that is disrespectful to authority and disrespectful to her husband. We need to get rid of the eye rolling. And so I say modeling. I can tell you my good thank you, please. Yes, I mean, I had my friends going, your child's the only one that said thank you after lunch. I mean, lots of people told me that, but it was just a habit of mine, and it became a habit of theirs as well. And so the other thing, but on the negative side, there are things you could just, like here, I'm using my hands. My kids, I can look at them sometimes and I can see their mannerisms, their gestures. I know you can see the same thing in your own children. They are learning from you whether you want to or not, and you are modeling something. So I would say, what are you modeling? Model something that's good. Now I could go into my whole education thing on love of learning, but we're going to stick with consistency, being consistent, and raising, oh gosh, speak of my daughter calling me, being consistent, and then raising them in godly character as well. If you are not a person of faith, you can still use these ideas and just come up with your own consequences. I would obviously encourage you to think about it, because I believe Jesus Christ is the answer, and he's given me so much hope and faith and joy and peace, and I'll be posting something about that. I always like to include something personal when I'm here on Facebook, and when I have a time like this, and like when I have a whole week. And so I will be sharing a personal story, I don't know, in an hour or two. I can't remember exactly when it pops up, but it's already scheduled to go. Jackie and Carissa and Erin, thank y'all for being here. And I know other people have been popping in and out because I can see the numbers coming and going. Character training kit, $15. Free basic pass to Homeschool Superheroes. Thank you, Heather and Top Picks. They are one of our platinum sponsors, and that is one of the reasons that we are able to offer a free basic pass, because our sponsors are actually helping pay for the event, so that then we can give that free pass to you. But I will put a link to where you can sign up for free. If you want to sign up or try to get one of our all access passes, you may do that. Or if you just want to go ahead and get your all access pass and you win, I will refund you All access passes are on sale right now till tomorrow. Early bird, only $17. And that is less than I could take my grandkids to Chick-fil-A. My other daughter works at Chick-fil-A. So it's a great deal. And you'll get 60 video workshops. You have 30 speakers and the community group. And I would really encourage you to sign up, if nothing else, just for the community group. Access to our homeschool superheroes who are veteran homeschoolers, and they are popping in and out and answering questions left and right already. And we don't even start till Monday. So we have some awesome homeschool superheroes. I think that is it. Yep. I'm Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child and Homeschool Superheroes. See you tomorrow for the kickoff and Monday morning for the beginning of our week. Y'all have a great evening.